Okay. Hi, awesome class. I miss you guys today. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this deck class that we're writing before you get too far in that. So you remember last class we talked about this array list of cards and making possibly the integer length, which I guess that's optional. And then I said write a deal card, a cards left, some constructors, things like that. So I wanted to start just by showing you how I started that out. So I have my deck class, which you should be able to see on the screen right now, and my instance variables, which are private, are listed up above. And so um, uh, I have an instance variable that's an array list of cards. So remember that you have to import java.util in order to use an array list. And I also have another instance variable that's an int. And my first constructor is probably the constructor that will be used most frequently. It could be the only constructor. I did make another one for a different reason, but this constructor is the important one. So it doesn't take any parameters in the parentheses. And I set the length to be 52 because I am just assuming everybody wants to use a standard deck. And then I set my deck to equal a new array list of cards. And I put just a empty parameter set. That can be a length, it can be an integer number, but it doesn't have to be. And then notice that I'm calling up, I created a method called setup standard, and that's just a standard setup of a deck of cards. So if you go down and look at my setup standard, you'll see that that's the code that we kind of developed together in class the other day. That just sets up an entire deck of cards. So I have that already going. I already have my two-string written where I print out 8 per line, 8 cards per line. And yeah, sorry about that. And that'll just print out. And then I have, of course, my card class, which we wrote together in class. So everybody should have that. And then I have this test program, which I called Card Game. And so just to run that and show you what it looks like before doing any shuffling or anything else, I run that and you see down at the bottom is everything from the 1 of diamonds all the way to the 13 of spades. So they're not shuffled. I want to talk to you about the shuffle class because it's kind of cool what it does. So ultimately, my goal is I'd like to say something like, I called it standard here, standard.shuffle. And I'd like for that to shuffle up all of these cards that I have down here, the 1 of diamonds and so on. So I'm going to my deck class because that's going to handle all of the things that have to do with the deck, like shuffling. And I'm going to go down here, and this is pretty cool how this works. So it's going to be public. I want people to use it. It's not going to return anything. It's just going to take my standard deck and shuffle it. And then I am calling it shuffle. But the beauty is I don't really have to write any BOGO sort or any like swap or anything. I can go to this collections class, which is a class that was written by Oracle people, and I can call on their shuffle method and just send my array. So I called my array my deck in here. And so I sent it my array list. So collections, notice that shuffle must be a static method because I'm calling on it with the name of the class that it's coming from. So I didn't create any object. I just called directly on that. And I just wanted to show you in Google what that looks like. So array lists, which is what we're using for our deck, doesn't have anything called shuffle in it right now. It's got add, it's got a whole bunch of stuff, which we talked about last class. It doesn't have anything called shuffle. So if I do a Google search for Java API collections, you'll see that it brings up collections and it also brings up collection. Collection is not the one we want. That doesn't have a shuffle in it. But collections does have a shuffle in it. So if I go there and I scroll down, I will see collections can work on a variety of things, and you can read about it if you want. But if you scroll down, you'll notice that there is a shuffle that takes any kind of a list. We're using an array list, but there's other kinds of lists too that we'll talk about shortly. And notice it's static and it doesn't return anything. So because it's static, I can call on it with the name of the class, which is collections. So back to my program. That's all it'll take. Now, if I go to my card class, I can shuffle that standard deck and I can print it out. After the shuffle, and because I have an awesome 2-string, I can just print out my standard deck. And now when I run it, oh, I must have spelled something wrong. Oh, no. There we go. Now when I run it, I see down here, here's before the shuffle, they're all in order. Here's after the shuffle, and they appear to all be shuffled up into a different order. So I wanted to show you that kind of cool method from the collections class. Good luck finishing this. You can write any card game you want. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to do something interesting. So even if it's not fully and completely working, maybe create 2 array lists that would be one of them would be for one person's hand and the other one would be for another person's hand. So for example, if you had an array list of cards called person 1 and an array list of cards called person 2, you could deal those people cards with your new deal method. And your deal method should also be in your deck class. So here I am in my deck class again. Deal is going to return an integer value of, not even, deal is going to return a card. So that one, remember, you'll probably have some, actually, I'm going to make another video with that. So if you guys need to watch it or want to watch it, it'll be in there. This one's getting too long. Good luck.